Welcome back to Dan Recaps. Today, I'm going to explain the movie, The Carmilla Movie, released in the year 2017. In the beginning, Laura narrates a story of how her previous school's dean was in the pocket of a vampire cult that used to sacrifice girls. On their demand, he sent a vampire named Carmilla to be her new roommate, but things took a turn when they fell in love with each other. The lovers, along with their friends, then stood up against the evil anglerfish god and saved the world from the apocalypse. 5 years later, everyone from the group has moved on with their lives. After getting into cult studies, LaFontaine and Perry started a venture that creates supernatural-friendly products and are currently in talks with a multinational company interested in buying their startup. Danny is a vampire rights advocate, while Mel, Kirsch, and Laura are trying to kickstart their careers in journalism, while Carmilla enjoys her newly found human life to the fullest. Laura and Carmilla are living a perfect life in Canada, except Laura keeps having nightmares about Carmilla's past where she sees her previous lover, Al. Carmilla's vampire traits suddenly begin to reappear, and things get worse as sometimes her craving for blood completely overwhelms her. One day, Carmilla gets carried away and bites Laura in the neck, making her realize something is very wrong. On Laura's suggestion, they decide to meet up with the rest of the group. LaFontaine runs a test on her and learns Carmilla's human life, which they call the spark, is fading away, and she might soon succumb to her vampire instincts once again. When it continues to happen, Carmilla gets upset thinking she might hurt Laura, but she assures her they will soon figure out a way to make her better. During the discussion, when Laura mentions her dreams, Carmilla realizes they must be linked to her current condition because the mansion she explains is the same one where Carmilla and Al used to live together. While sharing it with their friends, they assume it might be some kind of a warning from Al, so they decide to go visit this mansion in Austria. Upon arriving, Laura tells Carmilla she can stay back if she does not feel comfortable going inside, but she insists on going in with her while someone watches through the window. While searching the mansion, Perry argues with LaFontaine over the decision to come to Austria, thinking they should have focused on their upcoming meeting instead, but she disagrees, saying they need to be here to support their friends. The group is soon cornered by a group of ghosts led by Emily and Charlotte, who reveal they are all victims of Carmilla's mother who had sacrificed them during her ritual. Despite their fate, they seem to hold no resentment toward Carmilla and invite her and her friends for dinner. At the dinner table, Emily tells them that they are trapped in a nightmare realm and need Carmilla's help to perform a ritual and enable them to move on to the afterlife. The group asks Emily about Al, but she denies that she's in the mansion. After coming back from the dinner, as Perry searches through the spellbook, Carmilla reveals she wants to help Emily because she thinks it might help her forget her past. At night, Laura has another nightmare where she sees Carmilla arguing with Al over their life choices, and then spots Carmilla's brooch surrounded by some paper dolls, which suddenly disintegrates to ash. After waking up, Laura tries to explain her dream to Carmilla, but they are interrupted by Mel, who has just overheard Emily and Charlotte talking and now thinks they are hiding something. The group confronts them, asking about the locked door, but they are surprised to see that Emily had planned a party for them before the ritual. Carmilla is confused by their super nice behavior, but Laura graciously accepts the invitation as well as the ball gown that Emily offers to her. Despite Carmilla's concerns about Emily, the group get dressed up in their Victorian-style dresses and join the rest of the group for the party. Seeing her standing alone in the corner, Mel talks to Charlotte, who reveals she doesn't even like parties, but Emily forced her to come, and then the two start dancing together. While dancing with Carmilla, Laura has a vision where she sees Carmilla and Al again. She is disturbed by these visions, but is quickly approached by Emily, who asks them to gather for the ritual, which they have to perform during the full moon. After thanking Carmilla for her help, she starts the ritual, in which Carmilla has to transfer her human life, or spark, into the brooch. But somehow, the spell goes wrong and instead transfers Emily, Charlotte, and LaFontaine into the nightmare realm. Suddenly, Elle shows up, confessing that she did it to take revenge on Carmilla for her betrayal, before stealing the brooch and vanishing. When Carmilla wakes up, Laura is shocked to see she has reverted to her vampire form. Meanwhile, Elle tries to escape, but becomes trapped in the house. The group realize Elle was aware of the ritual the whole time and was just waiting for the right time to interfere. Carmilla thinks they can perform the ritual again, but as Elle has taken the brooch, they have to get to her first. Laura and Perry get into an argument where Perry accuses her of being more concerned about Carmilla than her friends. The heated argument causes the group to split, after which Laura furiously asks Carmilla if it was her who summoned the ghosts, and she accepts that something happened during one of her therapy sessions when she was asked to think about her traumatic past. Hearing this, Laura starts crying out of fear that she will lose her, but Carmilla comforts her by talking about their future plans together. As they have only until the sunrise to get Carmilla's brooch back and complete the ritual, they start searching for her around the mansion. In her next nightmare, Laura sees how Carmilla was happy with Elle, but she lost interest. But before she can discover the reason, Elle attacks, cutting her deep with a knife. Waking up, Laura finds the same injury on her hand and is shocked to realize that Elle can hurt her in real life too. While discussing it with her friends, Laura figures out Elle sometimes loses control over her dreams, which results in her seeing things that Elle doesn't want her to know, like her argument with Carmilla. As they plan on finding Charlotte to get the rest of the details, they realize Kirsch has vanished just like the others. During their hunt for Charlotte, Laura sees a vision of Carmilla reading to her while Elle watches over them, warning Laura to stay away from her as she will betray her as well. While asking her about Carmilla's brooch, Laura spots La Fontaine, but before she can speak with her, is forced to return to reality. When she tells her friends about the vision, they think Laugh was trying to lead them toward a possible solution through her drawings, but they can't figure out what. Meanwhile, Carmilla finds Elle and apologizes to her for unintentionally sacrificing her life, but she accuses her of being selfish. Carmilla starts fighting with her, but stops after hearing a scream. She rushes downstairs to find Perry has now disappeared and has been sent to the nightmare realm. Charlotte shows up again and offers her help while assuring everyone that they were unaware of Elle's intentions and had no plans to hurt Carmilla. This time, when Laura sees her in her visions, Elle tells her that her friends are trapped behind a veil and she would have to sacrifice Carmilla's life to have them return, but Laura doesn't believe it and refuses to do it. Elle transmits Mel and Charlotte this time and urges Carmilla to fight with her. But as she keeps her distracted, Laura attacks her and grabs the brooch back, but Elle's spell sends them into the nightmare realm. Laura realizes everyone here is living their worst moment in life over and over again. While she wonders about it, Elle starts chasing her, asking her to return the life that she took from her. Laura dodges her and runs downstairs where she finds Charlotte and Emily, but Elle follows and tries to snatch the brooch. Laura runs again and finds herself in the room where Carmilla is experiencing the worst moment of her life when Elle betrayed her after finding out she was a vampire. Elle keeps on searching for Laura and Carmilla, but they manage to hide from her and protect the brooch. After leaving the room, Laura assures her they will soon get her spark back so she can continue her life as a human again. Although Carmilla wants it more than anything, she decides she wants to give it to Emily and Charlotte to make up for what her mother did to them. Laura protests, saying she will find another way, but Carmilla has already made up her mind. Despite Laura's concerns this might compromise their relationship or even result in her death, Carmilla convinces her to respect her decision, and Laura unwillingly accepts it. After deciding to save the ghosts from the nightmare world, they venture out to find La Fontaine and her other friends separated in different rooms while also reliving their worst moments. They gather everyone in a room where Carmilla reveals her plan to use her spark to save them from the nightmare realm to make up for what her mother did. The spell begins, but Elle attacks Carmilla and holds a knife to her throat. Laura confronts her about the fact that it was her that betrayed Carmilla, but offers her assistance to move on from the realm. Elle is not ready to give up on her plans yet and argues with her, but is forced to retreat after being attacked by Mel. Charlotte confesses her love for Mel, and the group successfully completes a spell to release Emily, Charlotte, and Elle from the nightmare realm so they can move on to their afterlives while they go back to their world. Carmilla kisses Laura and eventually blows out the candles to put an end to the nightmare realm. Carmilla and Laura wake up together and rejoin their friends outside the mansion before flying back to Canada to resume their normal lives. While enjoying a sunny afternoon, Carmilla asked Laura about her career plans, to which she confirmed she is thinking of quitting her job to work as a freelance journalist so she can live her dream of traveling the world. Meanwhile, LaFontaine and Perry excitedly discuss their upcoming meeting while revealing that they are getting even more benefits from the international company. Kirsch tells Danny about their adventure and tries to impress her, while Mel and Laura watch over him, realizing he won't change a bit. Laura returns to Carmilla, who is still a vampire, and asks about her plans, but she doesn't want to talk about the future. Rather, they should focus on the present when they are together. They both decide to live in the moment and proclaim their love before kissing once again. It is revealed that Laura has found the fountain of youth to help her stay young as Carmilla forever, and they adopt a baby to complete their family. In the end, Carmilla is visited by her sister spirit Maddie, who reveals anglerfish was a female and laid thousands of eggs. Carmilla agrees to go on her next mission. That was all from the video. Subscribe for more content like this and leave a like to help the channel out. Also, leave a comment if you want us to recap your favorite movie. Take care.